AI has set in and it is trying to solve problems for us. If we know that there's a correction that needs to be made, that has to happen. Recruitments are not going to be replaced by AI. If we say that our traditional data is biased, then the bias is just going to get scaled multiple folds. AI will improve the way the recruitment function is working.
Welcome to ValueMatrixTV, where we bring unfiltered voices and strategic thinking to build better workplaces. I'm Royden Sarejo, and joining me today is Nikkhiel Thankappan, Business Planning Director at Oracle and Workforce Transformation expert with over 24 years of experience in people strategy and talent optimization. Hi, Nikhil. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi.
Obviously, that's a pretty impressive career you have so far, and you've pretty sure you've seen it all. Just wanted to get your thoughts on, let's say, in the past 5 years, what is the shift you've seen in terms of how organizations are approaching, talent and hiring?
Okay. So there has been a drastic shift in the last couple of years, and thanks to pandemic, as well as the new technology, AI, and so on. These changes have been pretty much the need of the hour. At the same time, trying to solve a lot of problem. Now we are in a phase wherein the human touch in the role that we have has to be much more aligned in terms of the technology that has been brought in. And a lot of these shifts are a new kind of a learning. So while it helps us scale, at the same time, the quality to hire, the time to hire, and in terms of what is the problem that we're trying to solve, these things have changed over a period of time. And truly speaking, in every aspect of recruitment or talent optimization, analytics has definitely been better, primarily because of the time to deliver certain analytics and its answer of decision making has definitely improved. So while system does the analytics part, the entire decision making has become much more faster, much more precise and timely in nature. So these are some of the changes that I tend to observe over a period of time.
Right. And obviously, you mentioned that, AI has now come into the picture as well. So, just want to get your thoughts on, AI in the whole human resource process of basically hiring and talent acquisition. What are your thoughts? Are you like pro AI, or do you have any concerns or apprehensions about, rolling out AI into the basically the processes that have been there for decades?
Okay. I would call myself as a pro AI. Primarily, it it has to be a lot more than the technology, and not being seen as a fear factor.
Mm,
Primarily, what's happening right now is we are at a stage where AI has set in, and it is trying to solve problems for us. Now, what problem is it going to solve? Is it going to be evolving over a period of time? Because definitely it can help us scan through a lot of things today and at a scale.
mm,
However, the recruitment has been an entire touch at a pre-screening stage to a overall onboarding stage. So the recruitments are not going to be replaced by AI any day. So the fear of recruitment as a function getting replaced is definitely not the problem solving that AI is going to do. AI is going to take away all those, as in the old school, moving resume from one table to the other or collecting feedback. That is going to improve.
okay.
In a true sense, recruitment experience cannot be replaced by AI. It's more
Yeah.
than in terms of getting a right fitment versus a quality of hire and a lot more depth that gets into. So I personally feel AI will improve the way the recruitment function is working, probably
Mm,
scheduling some of these uh, analytical aspect of it or
mm,
data capturing aspect of it. These things can be definitely being much better.
mm,
However, in my personal experience, I see AI will enhance the way recruitment function works overall, because
Well said. Yeah.
it has to be more trained, and there are a lot of aspects that needs to be audited periodically in that sense.
Okay, so you're basically saying it's going to augment and help recruiters, make
Absolutely.
better decisions essentially. You also talk about the right fitment, right? And so this is like culture fit is something that also is important when you're hiring candidates, because obviously at the end of the day, they have to have the same shared values as the organizations, and only then will everyone thrive essentially. So for something like culture fit, which is not something you can really measure. I mean, you can speak to the candidate and get a sense of, from his background and his past professional experiences. But is that something? How do you sort of go about, in terms of getting the right talent? How is culture fit measured, according to you? How it should be measured?
So if you're looking at AI trying to do that, that might be too early to say whether it's possible or not possible. However, if you look at speaking to candidate, there are a lot of these aspects of cultural fit. Cultural fit always carries a natural bias in terms of it is always looked upon differently by different section within the organization. Let's say a marketing cultural fitment to an organization cultural fitment. What is that we would like to enhance has to always have a lot of other aspects like diversity into picture. Now, when we are looking at assessing, there is a lot of aspects of uh, culture that needs to be felt, spoken, and understood from that individual, because AI is not letting us do all that. So, one is in terms of the background, the scenario in which he or she going to react, the adversities, the challenges, and even the kind of evolving technology that we are in those scenarios, how the person is going to react or going to behave is far more felt while we try to evaluate a person. So, a scenario based scenario given to an individual or a candidate is not overall going to be enough. It has to have the touch feel. We fear maybe the person might not be able to scale himself or herself in that kind of a role scenario. So it has to be more in terms of it might seem as time consuming one more round of interview, but it is essential
Okay.
for any organization to have a happy set of people growing together in terms of a talent pool that's there.
Correct. You also mentioned, biases, and traditional hiring has kind of been, there is obviously some bias in traditional hiring. With AI sort of being uh, kind of neutral, depending on how you obviously train the tool and feed the data in. Do you think, like, implementing such technologies like AI or whatever will come in the future, can that mitigate the bias in the whole recruiting process or eliminate it altogether?
It should. I would rather say it should, because the way we train our traditional data, which if we say that our traditional data is biased, then the bias is just going to get scaled multiple
Yeah.
folds. So if you're looking at a data perspective to eliminate bias, it needs to keep auditing our own aspects of data that is being fed in. If we know that there's a correction that needs to be made, that has to happen. If that correction doesn't happen, we are only going to enhance the kind of biases that we fear to be there in the system. So AI can only perform certain aspects. What is the standards that we're going to keep? What are the measures that's going to come into picture? What is the kind of behavior that is going to be exist in existence in terms of selecting a candidate, in terms of identifying people? So
Right.
in all that scenario, it has to be trained over a period of time. Probably we may reach there that AI tool is there, which tends to take away all our biases. That
Right.
we want a fair kind of scenario, because it is moving towards a transparent kind of a scenario that we are going
Yeah.
to be in. Well informed, well, pretty much transparent. there in terms of clarity that we're looking for.
No, rightly said. I think that's a good point you've raised. But like since you've said you're like sort of pro AI, and we are also hearing a lot of ethical concerns regarding AI and how these models are rolled out and how data is being collected, right? Especially using AI in the HR space where you're going through, an employee or sort of a candidate's personal records and their history and everything. What are the challenges that you see, like HR, that an HR would face in adopting AI, especially when you look at, like maybe data privacy concerns or maybe even like resistance from employees?
Resistance, if you see from a data privacy standpoint,
Mm,
yes, in terms of data, there had to be some kind of a guidance that's existing. What are the do's and don'ts? And in the past couple of years, we have overcome some of these things. Uh, Maybe some organization is still trying to adapt it. There are certain information that has been said very clearly, not necessary to know.
mm,
So certain informations are kept aside
mm,
entirely. There are certain scenarios in which we, as as a responsible workforce trying to safeguard these aspects, have to keep auditing it. See, we have had regulatory restrictions, uh, GDPA guidelines, and so many things. So if it is periodically audited, or once it is audited that yes, these are things that is sensitive and we would not want to bring into the HR space at all. This is not a must know or it's not necessary. Then fair,
right,
as in probably we are dealing with historic data, but yes, those historic data has to also be somewhere archived, probably
right,
not for
right.
a reuse.
I think that's a good point. Um, but like you also mentioned, AI is getting smarter. It is going to help automate certain amount of tasks and processes. Basically, process-driven tasks are easily automated by AI. Now, let's say like maybe 60% of HR tasks, if it can be automated by AI. So, in your opinion, how can professionals sort of adapt to this future way of hiring without sort of fearing, let's say, job displacement or loss of roles? Like I mean, because the roles will eventually shrink, maybe from because things are getting more automated and more data driven. Uh, it is inevitable that the role of, let's say, a talent acquisition leader or a HR professional can maybe not reduce, but it's definitely going to change. So, how do you see that happening?
So I call this as a the way it's going to be evolved.
Right.
Probably there were a lot many things that used to exist in a few decades ago in a recruitment or a talent acquisition kind of workspace. I see this as evolving in terms of the kind of let's say if you're looking at something like an agentic AI trying to take place and manage the let's say a candidate between processes that has been laid,
Right.
the recruiter is still required in terms of to analyze a lot of these candidate and touch feel the people experience part of it. The people experience, when we speak about the recruiter, is no more going to be a person who's going to match a JD versus a resume. His role is going to be more of a talent advisor who is going to advise what is the right fitment in per se to the candidate that's being evaluated. We are evolving. When I say, I would like to re-emphasize on an aspect that yes, this is a technology that humans have built, and it has to keep auditing what is that we are doing right or wrong. We have experienced so much in the last couple of years, and our past history definitely tells us that it is always better to have not hired than having hired a wrong hire. So it has to audit, it has to, yes, it will definitely help that recruiter or the talent advisor at that point in time with more data. in
Mm.
terms of, okay, these are the stages in which my candidates are. These are progressing in terms of a different level. Probably he may not spend much time into doing an analytics. It is right there for him. However, his aspect of, let's say, every aspect of recruitment, right from planning, deploying, everything has been planned.
Mm.
But he is the auditor. He is the person who is trying to understand this JD even before it has been designed. So
Yeah.
if we are going to be more focused on a skill-based, need-based hiring to
Mm.
a futuristic hiring that, okay, we are going to lose people and that is what is the capacity backfill that we're going to do. That's going to reduce.
Right.
So I see them as enhancing the role. It is no more
Mm.
the recruiter, that 9 to 5 kind of a role that one can envisage. It's more than what we would see a better workplace.
Correct. Right.
So it's not taking away jobs; it is enhancing a job role. So
Right.
recruiter is not about somebody who's to give us a call trying to
Yeah.
say, hey, there's an interview that's been scheduled for over a weekend. Nothing.
Yeah.
It's going to be much more than that. It's going to be a conversation,
Right.
and it will evolve as per what business would like it.
Okay. Okay. But even with having all these checks in place, with the data helping the recruiter make that crucial decision of getting hiring or not hiring someone, we often hear stories that certain candidates do really well during interviews, and they pass through all the tests and multiple rounds of interviews. But when they actually join the organization, there is they're not able to get along with the team, or the work is not up to mark, or they're just not able to sort of cope with what is needed of them. So is there any way, like, basically the softer skills that you have, right? Technical skills you can always upskill, and you can have those tests during the interviews. But how would you, like, how do you prevent such mishires from happening?
In a current scenario, if you're looking at it in terms of how the hiring and the entire experience of this, let's say, has been moving around, is primarily because of the lack of transparency in the role and the clarity that the candidate is looking at. The candidate is looking at a JD.
Hmm.
He feels that he's been hired for a particular problem solving scenario, and he is focusing onto that. Now, our recruitment is currently more focusing onto the presentation skills. When it comes to the one who articulates it well,
Yeah.
will get hired better than the one that is trying to, probably fumble, or probably trying to
Yeah.
have lack of words, or is more of an introvert.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that is existing. Now, when we are looking at hiring, when we having somebody who's been hired and not being performed, the the entire process of hiring can be relooked at any given point in time. And what we find is the interviewer has actually captured it. It is the choices that of decision that people take versus an early joiner versus a person who's going to take a couple of more days to join. Well, he seemed to be fair technically. See,
Hmm.
we always focus on the technical aspect.
Yeah.
Today, we have AI tools to manage that technical aspect of it. However, if we look at people for softer skills, it has to have questionnaire that the person should be able to use. See,
Hmm.
there used to be psychometric tests that used
Yeah.
to exist, and especially for managerial candidate and above, it was a must have.
Hmm.
Now, these are things this has to be invested on, and people have to work towards it, because we get a fairer picture in terms of who
Right.
can perform in what scenario, in what
Right.
circumstances that the person is going to behave, whether it is going to be a pressure, whether it's going to be any scenario. Now, that gives us a fair amount of an idea.
Yeah.
Maybe that assessment can be offline, but at the same time, the person in person, when you speak to him with that
Hmm.
assessment, we get a fair amount of an idea. Okay, we are investing on the right person or not. So these decisions, somewhere in the speed to hire, gets overlooked. And we human tendency, or
Correct.
rather, I would not like to blame business alone for this, because it's a human tendency in terms of, okay, fine, I think that's something that I think we can bring him up to speed,
Yeah.
and taking those decisions at times. Okay, and he's not going to be in a client facing role,
Yeah.
communicating to people. Why do we want to be so biased about it? We use the word bias in the wrong sense there.
Yeah.
So, so these are some of the aspects that I feel that we should relook, and there are tools that we can use, and there are tools that can give us a clearer picture, because it's too late post hiring. So
Exactly. Yeah.
it's before that what we can do.
And it's also, yeah, costlier for the company when you don't have the right fit, right, right person.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
it costs us more.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. One of my last questions, Nikhil, is if there's one advice you could give to budding HR leaders and TA leaders, like let's say for 5 years down the line, knowing that how AI is going to be more prevalent in this space, and what would that advice be for that?
Well, one aspect which I would like to tell is try solve problems. Don't try fit technology into the problems. If when I say this, I'm very being. I would like to put it across in a way that yes, today we have a technology. Let's say we
Yeah,
have a scheduler, and scheduling is not the problem for us.
yeah,
Let's not even try implement it. We can probably replace everything by technology, but
yeah,
the purpose, certain things have to have the human touch. Else, that entire function which people used to look up to,
yeah,
that gets diluted. So my suggestion would be, whenever we are looking at building use cases as well, or trying to invest time on technology that is definitely going to impact an entire organization from an HR standpoint, one has to look at, are these things really required, or what is the problem that it is going to solve. If it solves a problem in hand, definitely one should look at and
yeah,
invest all our time and energy, and relook at all those technology things, because these audits are going to throw up definitely a different analysis that we're going to learn as a chapter. Because
right,
as HR leaders today, I'm sure the generation to come is learning AI and HR together,
yeah,
and I'm sure they're going to be capable of doing what is required to be. But having an experience of couple of years more,
yeah,
a pre what do you call for 2 decades prior
yeah,
experience, will definitely give a picture that okay, we have definitely come a long way. But in these scenarios, these were the things that was performed, not because of the technology that we should be handicapped. We should enhance that particular thing, rather just give in to the technology, saying that hey, let's get all our resume screening done by AI.
correct, correct, correct.
We should invest some time, human touch onto it.
Right, wonderfully said. One final question, Nikhil. If what is this one? If there was one AI innovation in HR that you could create to solve, like a major workforce challenge globally, not necessarily only in India, what would that be?
Well, the workforce has to see, today mobility can be a concern.
Right.
Scaling up of entire HR activity across globe is possible today.
Hmm.
In terms of all of these, see, today people are looking at, why don't I get a global exposure? A global
Yeah.
exposure is available in India
Correct.
for people and role. It is available. There are global leaders who are working out of places. So
Yeah.
one of the key things that I would like to propose is we should look at having one global culture, HR practices which are existing, that happens to be borderless, or rather
Yeah.
beyond boundaries, and it should have mobility possible. So it's like, let's say, if we are looking at solving a problem for business, it should be cross-cultural, across the globe, and the person should be able to move from region to region and
Correct.
take care of all his personal aspect or the human aspects of it, for him to be able to mobilize him in a different role much more easy. And scaling up, because we are looking at a culture that gets transformed into people, and people are able to have the have be able to be more productive.
Yeah.
So more the productivity is what we need to focus on, because we are in an era where algorithm decides a lot of things.
Yeah.
So we need to have much more culturally enhanced, and we should be able to understand and adapt, because the global scenarios are going to change. The geopolitical scenario is going to change. Things are going to be faster than what we can think of.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be only a BCP or a business contingency planning or some kind of a compliance planning, but these are going to be more real time aspects to adapt. So that's something that has to be much more real time, and the decision for businesses is much more easy. It's not only a consultative role; it is a role that designs organizations to a next level.
Well, that was a wonderful discussion, Nikhil. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for taking the time and coming on ValueMatrix.tv. Thank you.
Thank you.
Until next time, thank you for tuning in to ValueMatrix.tv, where we explore the future of work, one insightful conversation at a time. Take care.